The following may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
No water for Penal residents despite scorching temperatures. Hours after Rio Claro residents staged a fiery protest for water, residents of Penal dragged kegs and barrels on the street to protest for water. Beating the kegs using sticks, the residents chanted, "We want water! We want water!" CU Rampersad told Guardian Media that life has become increasingly difficult for the residents of Timol Trace, Napalia Trace, Goodman Trace, and parts of Clark Road, Dignity, Wilson Road, Rock Road, and the SS Erin Road because of the ongoing water crisis. In some areas, people have no water for months. In other areas, they're getting twice a month. But when they open the valve, the water falling slow. If you put a bucket there, it would fill up next Christmas, he shouted as the residents applauded. He added, "COVID-19 is here and they want you to wash your hands. But how you will wash your hands, sanitize and clean if you have no water?" he added. With scorching temperatures, the residents say water shortages have negatively impacted not only homes but also crops and livestock. Farmer Rampersad Lanchan, who has 30 cows, said he has been filling water in kegs at standpipes to give to his animals. "I drive around a 5-mile radius searching for water by any family friend or standpipe I could find. Right now with the heat, the animals drinking more water," he said. Truck-borne water was not an option for some families who have been unable to afford a tank. Another resident, Tara Bridgemohan, said with the threat of COVID-19, she too was afraid for her family. "How can we clean and wash if there is no water? We deserve water just as people in any other area," she said. She noted that her children were home and because of the heat, they have to bathe more than twice per day. Councillor for Penal, Shanti Budram, said there was a water leak in Goodman Trace which had been flowing for more than a year. She said several reports had been made in the past, but nothing was done. "All this area has is leaks and flood, and we cannot get water. This is unacceptable. We will have to step up and protest outside Parliament if the situation is not addressed," she said. "Next week is budget and there will be a raise in prices. Everything is going up and we cannot get water. There is only flooding and no water in the pipe. We are citizens too. Our lives matter just like the people from West Moorings," she added. In a statement, WASA said there were 3 different ruptures on the transmission pipelines at Barrackpore and St. John, which occurred over 2 weeks. Repairs was completed on 28th of September 2021, and the service is being normalized to the affected areas, WASA added. Customers located at the lower level of the Timol Trace area have already received a pipe-borne water supply, while customers at the higher elevations are expected to receive a supply by Thursday. WASA said it had been delivering truck-borne water to customers in Timol and Napalia Trace on Monday and Tuesday of this week. 2 men charged with Tunapuna teen's demise. 2 men have been charged with the 2020 murder of a Tunapuna man. A police media release on Thursday reported Josh Constantine, 26, and Daniel Sandy, also known as Danny Boy, 24, were charged with the demise of 19-year-old Aaron Smith last August. The men appeared before Senior Magistrate Indra Ramu Haynes in the Tunapuna Magistrates Court on Thursday to face charges of murder, shooting with intent, possession of a firearm, possession of ammunition, possession of a firearm to endanger life, and possession of ammunition to endanger life. The charges were laid by Legal Officer Inspector Maharaj after receiving advice from the Director of Public Prosecutions, Roger Gaspard, SC. Constantine and Sandy were remanded into custody and are expected to return to court on October 25. Inquiries were supervised by ASP Douglas, Inspector Hossein, and W. Inspector Sylvester from the Homicide Bureau of Investigations Region 2. Businessman at the center of the conflict between the Prime Minister and Inshan Ismael denies special treatment. Businessman Hazar Hossein, the man at the center of the contentious email thread between Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley and businessman Inshan Ismael, yesterday said the matter will be forwarded to his lawyers. On Wednesday night, during his TV program, Ismael produced a redacted email from the Prime Minister in which Rowley told him to kiss his derriere and go to hell. Soon after, Rowley provided the email thread which showed that Ismael first told the Prime Minister he was forced to close down his used car business after 21 years because of a shortage of foreign exchange. Ismael alleged that while other businesses were unable to access foreign exchange, Hossein was being granted access to unlimited forex. He tried to link Hossein to the Prime Minister, saying Hossein was also a CEO at the Land Settlement Agency and that government ministers bought vehicles from his company and questioned whether they did their due diligence checks. It was then Rowley told him off, saying he was overdoing it, but in a brief telephone interview yesterday, Hossein denied he received any special treatment. "I am just like everyone else," Hossein said. Hossein refused to say more as the matter was going to his legal team. On Wednesday night, Rowley called on Ismael to provide context to his email and sent the thread to Guardian Media. According to the email conversation between the two, Ismael accused the Prime Minister of favoring a business with foreign exchange access. "What is interesting is that we were informed that a former director of FCB was given the green light by the Minister of Finance to get unlimited forex. This company, run by Hazar Hossein and his son Mikhail, imports millions worth in US dollars of vehicles every month, while most of us suck in salt," Ismael said. "Ministers and government officials have bought vehicles from this company. Did they do their due diligence checks?" he asked. Moments after the story was posted online, Ismael also posted the emails to his social media page. The story garnered a lot of attention on social media. While some people supported the Prime Minister and told him he was too kind to Ismael, others found his words unbecoming of his high office. Despite his spat with the Prime Minister, Ismael has defended his decision to support the People's National Movement and Rowley in the 2015 election. "Yes, I supported Rowley in 2015 because of the people around him, and the vision at the time was workable. If you choose to support a woman who lost 9 previous elections, that is also your right. The reality of it is that a sitting Prime Minister must have some level of decorum. He must not behave like a donkey or bray like one," Ismael wrote on social media. "He cannot be compared to an average citizen," he said. Ismael said while thousands of businesses were suffering and shutting down due to foreign exchange issues, "Some of all you too stupid to see that. Some getting millions while others getting nothing, but again, all you too stupid to see that," he said. Ismael said most of the people in support of Rowley did not have a parrot on a stick. "This is the type of behavior you have in your home, so the Prime Minister addressing a citizen like this is celebrated by you. This is why your country will never progress. Too many stupid people," he said. Ismael said his own father did not talk to him the way Rowley did. "Who Rowley feel he is?" Ismael asked. But while calling on Rowley to have better behavior, in Ismael's immediate response to the Prime Minister, he told him it was impossible to differentiate his head from his derriere. He told Rowley he was connected enough to see the donor list at Balesier's house project and had to laugh. These fellas are being well rewarded now. Guardian Media asked the Prime Minister yesterday whether he believed his words disrespected his office, and he responded by saying, Ask him why he redacted the main sentences in the email that he was publishing. What did those sentences say? Rowley said. Parliament to consider nomination of new Police Service Commission member. The nomination of retired Deputy Commissioner of Police to become a member of the Police Service Commission is on Monday's order paper when the House of Representatives meets to hear the Budget 2022 presentation. The nomination will be read briefly in the House before the budget is read. Opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar said this is proof that Leader of Government Business Camille Robinson-Regis lied when she claimed that the nomination of Edwards as a potential member of the PSC was already laid in Parliament. Yesterday, Persad-Bissessar produced the order paper for the upcoming sitting on Monday, which showed that the nomination is set to be tabled then. Persad-Bissessar has called for an immediate apology from Robinson-Regis. This matter has only now appeared on the House of Representatives order paper for the third sitting of the second session of the 12th Parliament on the 4th of October 2021, the opposition United National Congress said in a media release. This matter never appeared on the order paper during the current 12th Parliament, following upon the August 2020 general elections, the opposition said. Early Thursday morning, Persad-Bissessar emailed the order paper, which stated that while the President notified Parliament on June 10, 2020, the notification was laid in the House of Representatives on the 4th day of October 2021. In the media release, the party said that since the elections, there have been about 36 order papers and 36 sittings of the House of Representatives, and this notification was never on those order papers and never listed for debate. Persad-Bissessar said that as Leader of Government Business, Robinson-Regis presented her misinformation in the most vulgar and vicious way. Earlier this week, Robinson-Regis responded to questions by Guardian Media on the matter by forwarding the July 3, 2020 order paper where the notification had appeared and added, As I said, the notification is still valid, and as I also said, I'd asked the clerk on September 15 to place it on the next order paper. We haven't had a sitting since then, so we have no order paper. The next sitting is October 4. Man ordered to pay $10,000 for assault of common-law wife. A man from Cunupia who admitted to assaulting his former common-law wife after she refused to copulate with him has been fined $5,000 and ordered to pay $5,100 in compensation. The man, whose identity was withheld in order to protect the identity of the victim, received the sentence from Magistrate Nicholas Ali after pleading guilty to assault occasioning actual bodily harm late last week. On August 23, investigators went to the man's home with the victim, and she identified him as her attacker. The officers interviewed the man several days later. He was eventually arrested and charged with the offense. Presenting a mitigation plea, the man's lawyer, Bimal Maharaj, sought to give context for the incident to mitigate his client's potential sentence. Maharaj claimed that the argument started after his client threatened to end the relationship. When given an opportunity to address the court before sentencing, the victim said all she wanted was compensation to have her teeth fixed. During the next hearing of the case, the victim presented an invoice from a dentist in the sum of $38,600. Maharaj challenged the quantum of compensation claimed as he noted that the maximum that could be awarded by a magistrate under the Summary Courts Act is $5,100. Magistrate Ali agreed and ordered the maximum compensation. He also slapped the man with a fine of almost the same value. The man was given a month to pay the compensation and 4 months to clear the fine. Lumber contractor granted $170,000 in damages for malicious prosecution. The state has been ordered to pay a lumber contractor $170,000 in damages in a malicious prosecution case. Heard before Justice Kevin Ramcharan, the judge found that there was some fabrication on the part of the officer who arrested and charged the claimant, Yankaran Sankar. Sankar was charged with removing logs without a valid permit, but the matter was dismissed 5 years later. Represented by attorney Kevin Rantaram, Sankar in his witness statement said he had bought 29 logs for $12,500 from Richard Mitchell, who owns lands at Cemetery Trace off Lothians Road, Princess Town. Mitchell, he said, then gave him a removal permit. He said on April 26, 2011, he hired a man to remove 5 of the logs and gave him the permit. While he was transporting the logs along the Naparima-Mayaro Road near the Princess Town Police Station, SRP Kip Daniels stopped the truck. When Sankar arrived at the scene, he saw the officer holding the permit. He said the officer asked him if he was the owner of the 5 logs. Sankar explained that he bought the logs from Mitchell and he had the receipt as proof. He complied with the officer's demand to see the receipt, but the officer kept it. Sankar said the logs bore stamps from the Forestry Division and were initialed RM. The officer then indicated that he was seizing the logs and told the truck driver to drive the truck to the Forestry Division in San Fernando. When Sankar asked the officer the reason for this, he claimed the officer said, "Don't ask me nothing." Sankar also went to the office where the logs were offloaded. Sankar said he again inquired why the logs were being seized, but the officer replied, "When you go to court, you will find out." The following day, he received a summons to attend the Princess Town 2nd Magistrates Court on July 29, 2011. When he appeared in court, he learned that he had been charged by Daniel with removing 5 cedar logs from private land without a valid private removal permit being issued. Sankar retained attorney Ratiram, and on March 13, 2016, the matter was fixed for trial. However, Sankar said the officer did not attend court, even though the prosecutor indicated that he had served him with a notice to attend court and informed him that the matter was fixed for trial on that day. The magistrate dismissed the case for want of prosecution. However, the logs were never returned to him. In his witness statement, Mitchell, the landowner, said a forester from the Forestry Division stamped the 29 logs. He, Mitchell, then placed his initials, and the forester issued him a removal permit. He then sold the 29 logs to Sankar and gave him the permit. Mitchell said he never met or spoke to SRP Daniel. The officer, who has over 12 years of service and is also a forester based at the Forestry Division in San Fernando, said he knew the claimant and the truck driver prior to the incident because they frequented the forestry office to conduct business as woodworkers. In his witness statement, he claimed that the logs were not stamped and their measurements did not coincide with any of the 29 measurements listed on the permits. He denied that Sankar gave him the receipt for the logs. Additionally, Daniel claimed the permit was for the removal of logs from Lothians Road, not Cemetery Street. But both Sankar and Mitchell said that the area is referred to as Lothians Road. The officer also claimed that he spoke with Mitchell on April 27, 2011, but this was denied by Mitchell. The officer said he was absent on the date of the trial because he was not served a notice by the prosecutor, and he was dealing with a similar matter involving 112 logs on the same day. The state was represented by attorney Natoya Moore, instructed by Kadeen Matthew.